on top of my head. Whew. And then the door, the window door got broken. And then there was this one guy, he said, maybe an angel. He said, "Whew, look at you. If you became just an inch taller, you would be dead by now." And I was like, oops, no more complaining. We have a God. This could be humorous sometimes. Like, I know why I made you small. You don't have to be tall for me to use you, right? So I stopped complaining since then. I said, okay, Lord, no more complaining. So I graduated at the age of 19 in, nursing. And since I have finished all the churches, I said I have nowhere else to go but the Seventh-day Adventist. Okay. So I said, okay, what can I do? I was really searching for the truth. So I said, all right, I had a pastor come to the house, and we were having our Bible study, the whole family. And I guess my father was not really ready yet to be involved in being a Seventh-day Adventist, but I already made up my mind. When we were having our Bible study, the truth about the Sabbath was very clear. There's no way for me to reject that truth. So I said, okay, even without them, I decided to get baptized. So April 1991, I was baptized, and it was a very special baptism. But you know what? The enemy won't stop discouraging you. So Saturday was the baptism. Friday, all of a sudden, after so many years, I started having asthma attack. And I said, I haven't had asthma for a long time. And then on the Friday, just prior to my baptism, the next day, I started having asthma. It was so hard for me to breathe. And April is summertime in the Philippines. It was very hot. We were living in Manila. It's so polluted. It was hard for me to breathe. The air there was very polluted. But then I said, maybe this is the enemy's work. Maybe he's trying to prevent me from being a Seventh-day Adventist, from converting into this faith. So even with, that difficulty, we're talking about breathing here. Almost couldn't breathe. That was kind of dangerous. But then with what I have experienced with God, He protected me all those times. I know He will protect me even at the very last minute that I will be baptized. So I went ahead and went to that small Seventh-day Adventist church where I found my aunt and my cousin. She was the only faithful Seventh-day Adventist who really inspired me in my family. So she was praying, and she knew that I was going to have some challenges before the baptism. And she said, good thing you came. We have been praying for you since last night. And I was very short of breath. And then, we went to Manila Center, and that's where I got baptized. And after baptism, the breathing problem was all gone. And all my mucus came out after I was baptized, just out of water, no mucus anymore. So that has proven me that I must be in the true church. That's why the enemy was trying so hard to discourage me, to prevent me from joining this faith. But the enemy is not going to stop you. It's not like when we got baptized, it's going to be like, and they shall live ever after story. That's actually just the beginning. So I was so happy being a Seventh-day Adventist. I was a member in Mandaluyong SDA Church in Manila. And my aunt was there, of course. For some reason, I was so very excited. Like, oh, it's good to be a Seventh-day Adventist. It's good to be with this 10 Commandment keeping people. And I was just so illusioned by, that like, I had an image of these people being perfect. And I was wrong because I knew that they were humans too. But with the youth, I was so excited. I would really, handshake with them, that strong handshake. I was so excited. Even if I felt like there was some group that, very, very cold, And then, so it happened that they found out that, oh, Miriam could sing. So because I was new and they wanted me to sing, but it seemed like every Saturday, every Sabbath they were asking me to sing. My concern was I hope that, the youth or the other people won't get tired of me or they would think that I want attention to myself. But, it was the elders who were requesting me to sing because I was a newbie. I was a new member. And then somebody has reported to me that, you know what, every time you sing, there was like a group of people who would even say like, her again. So, I kind of brushed that off. And I said, okay, they did not like me, but it's okay, So there was one event. It was an anniversary event in the church. And I was I was like one of the guest singers, even if I was already a member. I was like their special number in that anniversary in Mandaluyong Church. And my cousin gave me this CD of Sandy Pate, so a shepherd of my heart. So she said, because I did not know yet what to sing. I felt like I just came out of the born again fellowship, so the way I sang was not yet, the way that I sing now. So she gave me this, it's not a CD, but a tape, a cassette tape, okay? And of course, that's that's my example, so I followed it. And then there was this guy. Every time I saw this guy, he was a brother. Okay, I'm not gonna mention his name because I don't want it to be personal. It's just a journey that I'm talking about. So he came and he was one of the special guests. And I always was excited every time I saw him. So when I was singing, so I started singing Sandy Patty Way. You're the beacon of my life. So he was there and he was looking at me and being young, 19 years old, you're singing there. So I said, oh, I hope that he liked, because I like this guy whenever he preached. All right, so that Sabbath passed, and some of actually the youth were asking me, are you a born again? Like in a cold way. Why are they asking me that? I want people to think that I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. So I was kind of hurt. Like, why? Is it the way that I sang? So that was like a question in my mind. I said, maybe there's something in my singing that made them think that I'm a born again. Maybe I should look for another way. And then, that's when I started changing my style. Because I did not like, attracting people to me. So there was a big anniversary, and it was in Arcelia's church in Manila. So the youth leader there invited me to sing for the speaker. And so I was there, we came, sang using the guitar, and I found out that the guest who was in our anniversary, the previous Sabbath, was, that guy, the guest who was going to speak in that church. So I said, wow, so he's the one who's speaking here. I'm so happy that I get to sing before his preaching. So as soon as he stood up, he looked at me in a cold way. And I said, I was just being kind of, maybe just childlike, like, oh, I'm so excited for his sermon. And then he said, my topic today is about music. So, okay. And then he started talking about the do's and don'ts in the pulpit. I mean, it's okay, but, it was kind of, it was really something. I did not expect it. So he was saying, don't you know that I have attended an anniversary, a church anniversary, and there was this young woman, a young lady who was there. She grabbed the microphone and she was singing as if she's in that entertainment. I said, what anniversary is that? Wait, I was the one who was singing there. So, it was like, and then he said, oh, and so she was singing as if, she's a celebrity. I said, no, that was not my purpose. So I was kind of debating, inside me, and he said, and don't you know that we are not supposed to be using guitar, we should just be using piano. And my brother just used a guitar, and I was the one who sang, but I did not sing anymore in a born-again way, So I said, and he said, but not you, sister, okay? And then, I could hear the pin drop. Well, people were just like quiet all of a sudden. And they said, oh. You could hear that like, oh. And then there was this, older people at my back, like they were saying, oh, poor girl. We liked the way she sang. Why is she talking like that? And I felt like I was melting like a candle where I was sitting down. I couldn't bear the tension anymore because everybody was just looking at me. And I said to my mother, Ma, I'm going out. I couldn't stand it. So, so I went out, and one of the attendees was my aunt. So she told me later on that, what he did to you was really wrong. The people there were talking about it, that he's not supposed to do that to you. But the damage was done. I was very young. I was a newly baptized Seventh-day Adventist. I was so discouraged. And then, of course, I was still in my early walk with the Seventh-day Adventist faith. And I have seen all the fightings in the church, so I was so disillusioned. I said, so this is how it is in this church? I started coming out. And I encountered reformers, okay, those offshoots in the church. And they were kind of nicer. So I said, I didn't want to be forever lost. I'll just hang out with them. But then they're kind of, fanatics. Like, you couldn't wear pants. What? Even if you hiked in a mountain, you couldn't wear pants? No, because that's not for women. And I said, it was just becoming overwhelming for me. And then vegetarianism came. And then, since like the way that they carried the vegetarian or the health reform message was kind of in a Pharisee way, it was just overwhelming with me. I had to come out. I came out of the faith. Yes, I did backslide. And I said, it was just too much for me. This church, no good. I searched the whole, all the denominations that I could search, and when I went to the Seventh-day Adventist, this is how they treated me. So I was with the world. I became kind of hooked to going to the disco. Being young, you were in your early 20s, and every Saturday, my father would still bring us to the church, like. It's just like, okay, just to be there, Sabbath morning I was in the church. But at night, my legs were shaking to go to the disco. But then I guess it was because I was trying to just forget, the frustrations that I experienced in the church. For a while, maybe it took me like 6 years going out in the world. There was one time when I have encountered a good group of reformers. They were really good people. They have inspired me so much. And at that time, I was still debating whether Ellen G. White was a true prophet or not. And I became more acquainted to the Seventh-day Adventist lifestyle because of these women. And they were into vegetarianism. It was a long journey. That's a separate topic when it comes to health. Overcoming the appetite. It was so hard, but God has sustained me. He gave me grace as I left the unclean foods, going to a journey of, pescan, pescatarian, vegetarian thing, and then now whole plant-based diet. That's separate topics. But one of the lady gave me a desire of ages. And I was not yet convinced that Ellen White was a prophet of God, but I'm not rejecting anything that I have not studied yet. Although I have heard a lot of people in the church who were saying, no, I don't believe in Ellen White, that vegetarianism and all. So they were kind of rejecting that. And I said, what's the animosity? Why are those people in the same church not, they are rejecting the light that Ellen White is saying? And I couldn't see any of her counsel that is harmful to our soul. But I said, health reformation, what's wrong with changing the diet? Isn't it good? Being a nurse, I said, I guess this is healthier. But I was not fully convinced. I was still on my journey to knowing him. One night, I was alone at home. I was very depressed. I have experienced church. I've experienced the world. And I was still very empty. I knew I was looking for the Sabbath truth, but I have not really found the full character of Jesus. And he had to speak to me once more. So there was one lady who gave me a desire of ages, and it was just in the bookshelf. I never opened it. Something has just forced me to get that book out of the bookshelf. And then I went right into the page of Gethsemane. As soon as I opened it and started reading it, I felt like I was brought into like a, in a different place where I saw very sharp, through my eyes, Jesus just weeping for the sins of each one of us that he needed to die for. And that chapter alone, just before I ended the chapter, I was already down to my knees. I collapsed and I was crying. I was between wailing and weeping, because I saw the blood. He was sweating blood and he was agonizing in the Garden of Gethsemane. And that was like another revelation to me that the writing of Ellen White is indeed divine. It was divinely inspired. I was there crying and I said, Lord, you love me this much. You love me this much. I was just crying and crying in my heart. And that was the point that changed me overnight. My life was never the same again. So, and it's good because it's true that her writings, when you read it, it will point you back to the Bible and it will make you hunger more to read the Bible. So that was my experience there. Of course, my work, the work in me is not yet done. I'm still a work in progress. But I want to thank God for, whenever you search for truth, he would really lead you to the truth. I've met the most horrible people in this church, but I've met also the most beautiful, wonderful, godly people in this church. But I'm not in this church because of the people. I could be surrounded by all the most horrible people in this world, in this church, but I couldn't deny the truth that our doctrine has. But the Sabbath truth, prophecies, no other church could explain that on point. The health message, the present truth. These are all the things, these are all the reasons why I'm in this church. And I can never allow what happened to me before happen to me again. That no matter how discouraging the people could be around you, even your close, your beloved relatives or loved ones, it's not enough for me to leave this church, and I'll always stay Seventh-day Adventist. Amen. Thank you so much. God be glorified.
Amen.